Welcome aboard, my name is Sharia, and you're listening to a brand new episode of the Aviation Files, the best podcast for all aviation enthusiasts. Today we will discuss the US banning airlines from charging parents for sitting with their kids, a passenger in a wheelchair having some issues regarding Asiana's battery policy, a new airline that is using Airbus A310s, and the newly selected Boeing CEO. So, without further ado, let's begin. Now, before we start, I would like to thank our sponsors for today's episode, Lithium Containment Solutions. Lithium Containment Solutions is a pioneering company in lithium-ion battery fire containment, as well as safe charging and storage. With innovative technology, they're the best choice to equip airliners with the safest measures for lithium battery fire containment. Their product, Lithium FireGuard, is the only product currently on the market with the prestigious UL 5800 certification. They offer devices that apply universally, as well as custom-made devices. They are making substantial changes not just to aviation but maritime safety, government buildings, and even office buildings. To learn more, visit their website, lithcon.us, and check out episode 30 of the Aviation Files, where I interviewed Nick Dunbar, their VP of Sales. Once again, a big thanks to Lithium Containment Solutions. Now, let's get back to the news. The U.S. Department of Transportation, DOT, has introduced significant legislation aimed at preventing airlines from charging extra fees for families with young children to sit together. This legislation applies to both U.S.-based and foreign-based carriers operating within the United States. According to the new rule, airlines are required to seat families with children aged 13 and under together without any additional charges. Furthermore, airlines must confirm that parents are seated next to their children within 48 hours of booking. The seating arrangement must place family members in the same row without separation by an aisle. In cases where this configuration is not feasible, seating across the aisle or directly in front of or behind a parent is deemed compliant. If airlines are unable to meet these seating requirements, they are obligated to offer a free refund or provide the option for families to wait for adjacent seats to become available, depending on the passenger's preferences. Failure to comply with these regulations could result in civil penalties for the airlines. The idea for this legislation was initially proposed in February 2023 and was signed into law by President Joe Biden in May 2024. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg elaborated on the reasoning behind the move, highlighting that many airlines do not guarantee family seating. He emphasized that this uncertainty forces parents to worry about paying extra just to sit with their young children, further complicating the already challenging experience of flying with children. Buttigieg stated, "The new rule we're proposing today, which would ban airlines from charging parents a fee to sit with their children, is another example of the Biden-Harris administration using all the tools at our disposal to lower costs for families and protect consumers from unfair practices." This proposal will now be put forward for public consultation before the final version is implemented. The legislation is part of President Biden's broader agenda to revolutionize air travel laws, aiming to establish stricter, more customer-friendly regulations and enhance transparency within the industry. In line with this effort, the Biden administration has also taken steps to block further airline consolidations, such as the proposed merger between JetBlue and Spirit Airlines, and has ended the alliance between JetBlue and American Airlines. In March 2023, the DOT launched a family seating dashboard, a tool designed to provide transparency regarding airlines' family seating policies. According to the dashboard, 4 airlines, American Airlines, Frontier, JetBlue, and Alaska, now guarantee family seating without additional fees. In contrast, other major carriers have policies that strive to seat families together but fall short of providing a guarantee. Overall, the new legislation represents a significant effort by the U.S. government to protect consumers and ensure that flying with young children becomes a less stressful and more equitable experience for families. Booking a flight online is straightforward for most travelers. Within a few clicks after selecting the desired route, date, travel class, and other relevant information, customers are taken to the airline's payment page and issued a ticket. However, today let's talk about how this process is not the same for everyone, particularly for those with disabilities. According to the WHO, World Health Organization, nearly 1.3 billion people, equivalent to 16% of the global population, experience significant disabilities, encompassing both mental and physical impairments. For instance, wheelchair users face an entirely different booking experience, requiring additional forms and notifications to the airline about their assistive devices. This added complexity often leads to stress and frustration. One major issue is the lack of awareness among check-in agents and airline staff regarding their own policies for accommodating disabilities. This results in repeated requests for the same personal information, causing further stress for disabled travelers. Consequently, many choose to avoid air travel together due to the overcomplicated nature of the process. Travel blogger Shane Hirhorek recently experienced these challenges firsthand on an Asiana Airlines flight from Tokyo's Haneda International Airport, HND, in Japan to Korea's Seoul Incheon Airport, Asiana. He shared his ordeal with simple flying, highlighting the issues faced by travelers requiring mobility assistance. While the check-in process is typically quick for most passengers, it was lengthy and confusing ordeal for Shane. He recounted, and here I am sitting at the check-in counter 2.5 hours into the checking process, and my mind at that moment, I thought, well, there's absolutely no way they're going to allow me to fly. Obviously, that made me really stressed and upset. Traveling with a disability is difficult, but having a disability and then being stranded at an airport in a foreign country is horrifying. As I was sitting there, I was researching how to get to Korea by boat, and I realized if I went down to the bottom of Japan, I had to get on 2 trains, book accommodation, and all that would probably take me 2 or 3 days to get there with the transit time just to get down to the port. The confusion stemmed from the airline staff's lack of understanding of how Shane's mobility assist devices, particularly the lithium batteries used in his wheelchair and power assist. Despite Asiana's policy allowing one 300-watt battery and one spare, Shane had to repeatedly explain his situation to the staff, who were unsure about what was permitted. He said, when I went to check in, there was already straight away a bit of language barrier. I was in a good mood to start off with, and then the person processing me to check in started asking me questions about my batteries. I answered those questions, but she kept asking the same questions over and over again, and it became quite clear that there was some confusion about what they can and can't allow on the airplane. Shane's situation exemplifies a broader issue within the airline industry. After almost 3 hours, he finally received his boarding pass and had to rush through security to make his flight. Asiana staff mentioned that they made an exception for him, despite his adherence to their policy. This incident highlights the airline's failure to organize itself, communicate internally, and follow its own policies, reflecting a widespread problem in the industry, where people with disabilities are often overlooked. Shane noted that some airlines manage these situations better than others. He praised Lufthansa for its accommodating practices, while Qantas, Qatar Airways, and Asiana lagged behind. Improving accessibility for disabled passengers presents a unique business opportunity for airlines. With nearly 20% of the world's population living with a disability, better accommodations, trained staff, and appropriate facilities could attract a significant number of customers who currently lack the confidence to travel. Shane aims to address these issues through his travel content, providing advice and inspiration to disabled travelers. He explained, and I quote, "Something I've always been thinking about over the last nearly 10 years was the lack of content out there giving advice to people with disabilities wanting to plan travel. It's always been my dream to go and document travel as I've done to give people insight and advice, but also create awareness as to what it's like for people with disabilities. The idea behind it is to inspire people with disabilities who maybe don't have the confidence or courage to leave their houses, to book a trip and see the world, but also just to expose the challenges we face." End quote. Shane's experiences and advocacy highlight the need for the airline industry to evolve in terms of accessibility, ensuring that disabled travelers are no longer ignored and can enjoy the same ease and convenience as other passengers. Now, let's talk about a very special airline that is now operating an Airbus A310 aircraft. On August 1st, Ava Airlines operated its recently delivered Airbus A310-300 on a flight from Tehran Imam Khomeini Airport to Istanbul Airport. Ava Airlines, a relatively new Iranian carrier that likely began operations in February 2024, has a small fleet that includes 2 Boeing 737-500s, 1 MD-83, and the A310-300. The fleet composition is influenced by the sanctions on Iran, which limit the availability of newer aircraft. The A310-300, with registration EPRBD, is a 33.4-year-old wide-body aircraft that first took to the skies in March 1991. It holds the manufacturer's serial number 576 and is one of the oldest A310s still in operation globally. In fact, EPRBD is the fourth oldest active airline-operated A310, with the others being used primarily in Iran and Afghanistan. EPRBD has a storied history. It was originally meant to be delivered to Pan Am, but this plan did not materialize. Instead, the aircraft began its operational life with Equatoriana as HC-VRB in September 1991. In 1993, it joined Uzbekistan Airways, where it flew under the registrations F-OGQZ and later UK-31002 until it was stored in Tashkent from 2012 to 2022. For many older, less efficient aircraft, such a long period of storage would typically lead to being scrapped. However, due to the sanctions affecting Iran, older aircraft like the A310 are still in demand. These sanctions hamper the country's ability to acquire new planes, leading Iranian carriers to continue using older models. This scenario is intriguing for aviation enthusiasts as it keeps these vintage aircraft flying. In July 2023, EP-RBD was temporarily registered as EY-706 with Tajikistan's Asia Skylines, but did not fly for the carrier. Instead, it was leased to Iran Air as EP-RBD and has retained that registration. The aircraft briefly served with Iran's Keshm Air and Miraj Air before joining Ava Airlines' fleet, where it operated the inaugural Tehran-Istanbul round-trip service. Such frequent changes in operators, even with the same country, are quite rare. Istanbul, including both Istanbul Airport and Sabiha Gökçen Airport on the Asian side of the city, had approximately 75,000 round-trip passengers traveling to and from Tehran in May 2024, averaging about 1,210 passengers daily each way. Tehran is Istanbul's largest international market by far, and multiple Iranian cities maintain flights to Istanbul. In August, the Tehran-Istanbul route is served by various airlines and aircraft, typically offering over 20 flights each way daily. The airlines and their usual equipment include A-Jet, using an A320neo from Sabiha Gökçen, ATA, using an A320ceo to Istanbul Airport, Ava Airlines, as we mentioned, with the A310 to Istanbul Airport, Iran Air using an A300-600 or A310-300 to Istanbul Airport, Iran Air Tour using an A310-300 to Istanbul Airport, Iran Asiman using an A340-300 to Istanbul Airport, Keshm Air using an A300-600 to Istanbul Airport, Mahan Air using an A340-300, A340-600, and A310-300 to Istanbul Airport, Miraj Airlines using an A300-600 and an A321ceo to Istanbul Airport, Pegasus Airlines using an A321neo from Sabiha Gökçen, Turkish Airlines using an A321ceo, A330-200 and 300, 737-800, 737-900ER from Istanbul Airport, and Yazd Airlines using an A310-300 to Istanbul Airport. This variety of airlines and aircraft types highlights the high demand and significant passenger traffic between Tehran and Istanbul. The presence of multiple carriers, including Ava Airlines, with its historic A310-300, adds to the rich tapestry of air travel in the region. Finally, let's talk about the news of the week. Boeing selecting its new CEO. Boeing has officially announced that Kelly Ortberg will be taking over as its new president and CEO, succeeding Dave Calhoun, who will step down in August 2024 after holding the position since January 2020. This announcement, which coincides with Boeing's Q2 financial results and follows a surge of orders at the recent Farnborough International Air Show, was first hinted by the Air Current and has now been confirmed by Boeing. Dave Calhoun announced his intention to resign in March 2024 after several high-profile incidents, including an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX losing a door mid-flight, which brought renewed scrutiny to Boeing's safety practices and leadership. Since Calhoun's announcement, there has been considerable speculation regarding his successor. Kelly Ortberg's appointment aims to address these concerns and set a new direction for Boeing. Kelly Ortberg, who will assume his new role on August 8, 2024, brings a wealth of experience from his previous roles as CEO of Collins Aerospace and Rockwell Collins, as well as an advisor to the CEO of RTX. Ortberg, a graduate of the University of Iowa with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, has amassed over 35 years of experience in the aviation industry. He began his career as a program manager at Collins in 1987 and spent 26 years climbing the ranks to become CEO. He retired from RTX in 2021 and has since been involved in various advisory and leadership roles, including co-heading an organization that hosts annual school robotics competition. Ortberg's appointment marks a significant shift for Boeing, as he is an external hire, unlike Calhoun, who had been on Boeing's board for over a decade before becoming CEO. This external perspective is expected to bring fresh insights and strategies to Boeing, a company that has faced numerous challenges in recent years, including safety issues, production delays, and regulatory scrutiny. In a statement regarding his appointment, Ortberg expressed his honor and excitement about joining Boeing, emphasizing the company's rich history and commitment to safety and quality. He said, "I'm extremely honored and humbled to join this iconic company. Boeing has a tremendous and rich history as a leader and pioneer in our industry, and I'm committed to working together with the more than 170,000 dedicated employees of the company to continue that tradition, with safety and quality at the forefront. There's much work to be done, and I'm looking forward to getting started." End quote. Industry leaders and analysts have reacted positively to Ortberg's appointment. Willie Walsh, the head of the International Air Transport Association, IATA, previously commented on the qualities needed for Boeing's new CEO, highlighting the importance of understanding the company's past issues and to guide its future. Walsh stated, "It is not for me to say who should be running Boeing, but I think an understanding of what went wrong in the past, that's very important." As Ortberg prepares to take the helm at Boeing, the aviation industry will be watching closely to see how this leadership change will influence the company's trajectory. With a focus on rebuilding trust, enhancing safety protocols, and driving innovation, Ortberg's tenure could mark a significant turning point for Boeing, a company that remains a cornerstone of the global aerospace industry. That's all for today. Thank you so much for listening, and do make sure to support the Aviation Files however you can. And don't forget to check out my Insta at the Aviation Files for more fun and exciting aviation news. Until next time.